What's up, guys? CJ here.
And this is Nick.
And welcome to our review of Season 1 of Westworld. The finale just aired a couple of hours ago, and oh my god. It was so jam-packed with stuff that it's hard to really even discuss one thing as, incredible, because I feel like all of it was incredible. We'll try our very best. This is H&'s review of Season 1, and there will be spoilers, so click away if you don't want to know or you haven't watched, you want to get caught up. But if you don't really care, feel free, by all means, continue. So we're going to try and keep this as brief as possible, but Season 1 was so jam-packed that might be a little tough. Nick, what was your favorite part of this show, Season 1?
I think, it's the funny thing is that I had been tracking this show through development ever since it was announced. I think, maybe 2 years ago, actually. I know Jonathan Nolan had announced that he was going to do this show, Westworld, and I didn't really know too much about it. Then I researched, there was a movie about it, and...
Great movie,
Yeah, really interesting science fiction movie, and then I got more and more anticipated for the release of it, and the trailers and stuff, and I don't know, to me, I loved everything about the show. I remember just watching, every episode, just waiting for every new episode to come out, and just the sense of scale that the show has and the questions that it raises are so profound. It's just really engaging to the viewers. But yeah,
it really is. Especially that's pretty much sums it up. I'm not sure I can top that. Thanks for watching. No, it really was incredible. There's never been anything like this on TV, to my mind. Really, nothing that kind of, and if there is, similarity in concept to some other shows, nothing nearly approaches the scope, and certainly not kind of the ethical, ontological, metaphysical questions that this show really raises about what it truly means to be human, but not even just what it means to be human, what it means to be a living thing. What are our standards for being a living being? That is certainly something that is examined in this show very much. And I've got to agree with you. I think this is one of my favorite new shows in a long time. And for Game of Thrones, since I'd read the books, I didn't watch it from the beginning, so it's not like I'm waiting every week. I actually only caught up on Game of Thrones last year. This is one of the first shows in a long time where it's I was sitting on the edge of my seat, waiting every week for a new episode to come out, and that was an uncomfortable feeling for me. So much to like about this show. Nick, what are some of the things that you liked the most about this first season?
I think before we started recording, I was talking about how much I loved Ed Harris as the Man in Black. It's so awesome, and
so good.
All the fan theories about who was he, and then as we got closer to this finale episode, it was getting more and more revealed as to what his actual backstory was, and then of course when they did reveal his whole origin, it was just amazing, I thought. And I think Ed Harris is definitely a highlight. I love Anthony Hopkins. He's amazing in the show. Definitely. The guy, the actor's name is escaping my mind that plays Arnold and Bernard, but
Jeffrey Wright. Honestly, one of my favorite
too.
actors.
Yeah.
I think this show is going to sweep the Emmys.
Definitely.
And if not sweep, I feel like they should definitely sweep the acting category from top to bottom. Ed Harris, incredible. And of course, since this is a spoiler review, we can talk about the fact that there were 3 different timelines, and Jimmy Smith, his character William was the Man in Black, and that reveal was so artfully done. I feel like so many of us were kind of onto that by the time that we got to this last episode, but it was just still so incredibly done. That was really the highlight of that finale episode to me, and really that whole through line, that whole story is probably my favorite thing about this first season. But yeah, even Anthony Hopkins, I feel should win an Emmy. He's a legend.
Definitely, yeah.
Oh my god. And then Evan Rachel Wood did a really good job as Dolores. James Marsden played his character. That was perfect casting in my mind. But Thandie Newton as Maeve was she was one of the real highlights to me as well. I feel like if no one else gets an Emmy, she's gonna get an Emmy.
I feel that was the thing for me too. Just her character too. This show also reminded me of how all of the storylines, like, you know how TV shows have like different stories in every episode, like all of them were interesting to me, like every episode.
Oh yeah, this is really like there was never a dull moment, and that's one of the things about this is we kind of had a little like, what do you prefer, like Game of Thrones or this? And I said, oh well, you know, having read Game of Thrones, I love the scope, I love the epic scale. That's the thing that attracted me to Star Wars, which is probably my favorite IP ever. It's a massive galaxy, so much can be going on. Game of Thrones the same way, it's huge. This, since it's not original because there was a movie, but it feels original. And it has a lot of like artistic freedom just to do whatever they really want, you know? And so to that like end, I feel like while I might prefer Game of Thrones, I feel like this is just better, and that's a controversial opinion. But I really did enjoy it. Was there anything you can think of that you disliked about this season? This is the tough one. I'm trying. I'm hoping that you buy me some time so I can think of something.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the only thing that I like see as like a negative is that we don't really get to see too much of the outside world or something. Like, we don't know what state that like the actual world is in, and plus, like,
that's curious. Yeah,
that's basically the only thing I can think of. I don't know.
I kind of was going to say I kind of wish we saw, because in the original movie, it was kind of a similar setup to the original movie where it's alluded to that there are other sections, and in fact you see a little bit of the different parks, like medieval world, Roman world, like all that stuff. We didn't really see anything about that in the show until the finale, and in the finale we finally get to see, yes, there are other parks, but that seems like it's going to be something going forward in season 2. You know, I can't really even think of a major negative, if that's going to be my one negative. That should tell you, if you're still watching this for whatever reason and haven't seen the show, that, you know, that should tell you that it's really, really good. Briefly, just to touch on, because I feel like we're still in a state of shock, what are some of your hopes and expectations for season 2, Nick?
I think, like you mentioned just now, at the top of my list is to see the other worlds, the other parks, and to also, I guess, delve into more of the hosts and see how they, you know, evolve and become their own.
Yeah, and it's really interesting. We're going to do a separate video on the details that we know already about Season 2, and I'm going to kind of try and break that down and predict ahead a little bit. But somebody said, I want to say it was either Jonathan Nolan or J.J. Abrams. Jonathan Nolan said it. He said, if the first season was defined by control, the second season is defined by chaos. That's what Ford has been planning all along. And so that should give you an indication. I feel like it's just going to be the hosts against like everybody else, and we got a taste of that in this finale. Kind of what's beginning to happen. Of course, the board of executives for Delos has just been executed,
and wiped out,
and Maeve has broken out and then come back, and so I expect really Maeve and her story to be kind of at the center. That's going to probably be a little bit of a tragic story because she's gone back for her daughter, but her daughter, having probably been wiped, might not know who she is, and, you know, even when she wakes her up, she might not, you know, feel a connection or really understand. But who knows? Maybe I'm being too pessimistic there.
I hope Man in Black comes back. I hope he doesn't die.
See, that's a really interesting thing you brought up, because we also talked about this before the recording. This is exactly what he's been wanting. Like, people who've watched the show, they know he's smiling when it's all going to shit. He's like, finally, this is what I wanted. This kind of a good death, in the words of Chiwetel Ejiofor's character from Serenity. Like, this is, you know, he wants it to have stakes. He wants to. It's not about like finding more to do in the park. It's about finally, you know, potentially meeting his end in the park, his story ending in the park, where he probably feels in some way that it began. But any final thoughts on Westworld Season 1?
Final thought, yeah, it's an amazing show. I definitely recommend it to anyone. Well, everyone's watching this has seen it, so hopefully.
Well, hopefully. I was going to say, if you haven't watched it and you're watching this review, shame on you. But still watch it, because it's probably still great. Man, I love a good twist. My final thought is I love a good twist. That's like the number one thing for me. Like, a bad movie can go to being like a decent movie, and a decent movie can go to being a good or potentially great movie based on the twist, in my opinion. And this was just Twist City. Holy shit. And honestly, we've never seen anything like it. We may never again, and I hope Season 2 is half as good. Let's say that. I hope it's just as good, but we'll see. But Anyways, yeah. Anything else?
Nope. See, I can't wait for season 2. Yeah.
Oh, when is that going to be? Is that like tomorrow?
Probably,
Can we? Oh god, 28. Don't make me wait. All right, but that wraps it up for our review of Westworld Season 1. Thanks for watching. Let us know in the comment section down below if you've seen it, what your favorite episode was, what your favorite moment was, and what you're looking forward to from Season 2. Don't forget to smash that like button if you like what you saw, and subscribe for more great content and coverage on basically anything you can think of. Signing off, this is CJ.
And this is Nick.
And we'll see you next time.